واذكر عبادنا إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب أولي الأيدي والأبصار. And narrate to them the tale of Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub. A verbatim, literal face translation. They were men with hands and eyes. Metaphorically, it means they had vision and strength. Literally, it means Uli is the plural of the word Zu, Aidi is the plural of the word Yad, Absar is the plural of the word Basar. The scholars of Tafsir asked the question, when Allah praised them, Allah said they had hands and they had eyes. How is that a praise? And then the ulama write and the mufassirin write, is that they discharge the obligation of their eyes and they discharge the obligation of their limbs. And then they further write, in the eyes of Allah, if you have these limbs, but they don't display the function and the role, then its presence and its absence is the same. I was sitting in Medina Munawwara earlier this year. The couplets that were recited, my mind was racing through. The Arabic poet said, أطهر أثوابي وقلبي مدنس أطهر أثوابي وقلبي مدنس وأخشى سهام الموت تفجأ غفلة. I'm busy cleaning my clothes while every minute my heart is getting more soiled and dirty. Somebody said in the Arabic language, قلب طاهر في ثوب دنس خير من قلب دنس في ثوب طاهر. It is better to have a clean heart in soiled clothing than a soiled heart in clean clothing. Today, my brother, my heart and your heart is soiled. The enmity, the antagonism, the jealousy that it harbors against others, unfortunately, this is something in which the greatness and the ma'rifat of Allah cannot descend while we are busy trying to keep the external clean. Ideally, external and internal. But between the two, قلب طاهر في ثوب دنس, a pure heart in soiled clothing, is far greater than having, clean clothing and a soiled heart. أطهر أثوابي. The poet says, I'm busy cleaning my clothes. وقلبي مدنس وأخشى سهام الموت تفجأ غفلة. And I'm afraid the arrow of death might strike suddenly. وما سار بي نحو الرسول ركاب. And sadly, I have traversed the world, but I haven't yet put my feet in Medina. The poet is saying, وَمَا سَارَ بِي نَحْوَ الرَّسُولِ رِكَابُ وَقَلْبِي مَعْمُورٌ بِحُبِّ مُحَمَّدٍ فَمَا لِي فِي غَيْرِ الْحِجَازِ طِلَابُ يَحِنُّ إِلَىٰ أَوْطَانِهِ كُلُّ مُسْلِمٍ فَقُدِّسَ مِنْهَا مَنْزِلٌ وَجَنَابُ فأسعد أيامي إذا قيل هذه منازل من وادي الحمى وقباب فجسمي في مصر وروحي بطيبة. May Allah bless us with Medina. Someone said in the Urdu language, महबूब को देखना मोहब्बत की शर्त नहीं, कोई बिन देखे उवैस करनी बन जाता है और कोई पास रह के भी अबू जहल बनता है. महबूब को देखना मोहब्बत की शर्त नहीं, कोई बिन देखे उवैस करनी बन जाता है और कोई पास रह के भी अबू जहल बनता है. To see the beloved is not a prerequisite of love. Some without seeing Nabi alayhi salam became Uwais Qarni. Umar, if you meet him, exploit the moment and ask him to make dua for your pardon. And I was just mentioned something in the 9th volume, Ibn Asakir, in that I read, we know he suffered from leprosy. And then Allah cured him. But illa mawdi'u dirham, the size of 1 dirham was left. This is in the narrations of Muslim Sharif and other kitabs as well. But in Ibn Asakir, in Al-Jind al-Tasi, I read this myself and I was blown off my head. The pious, they were on a different level altogether. When he made dua for shifa, he asked Allah, cure me but leave a trace of my previous condition. Don't cure me in its entirety. You can read it in Ibn Asakir there. Da'ni fi jasadi. Allah, leave a condition of my previous illness so I can look at it daily and remind myself of your favor. Have you ever heard in the annals of human history? And these were the giants, these were the legends. I mean, you can go to any medical, that is why I often say, today we have psychology as a name, we have therapy as a name, we have a counselor as a name, we have an arbitrator as a name. But little of it is accomplished and practiced and executed. We got Miss India, Miss UK, Miss Africa, Miss this, Miss that, Miss Paradise. You see this dark-skinned woman? You know, I was reading in Tafsir al-Tabri, in the beginning, wow, someone had written the introduction of Sa'id ibn Jubair. So in that he writes, أسود اللون أبيض الخصال. Wow, wow, wow. أسود اللون أبيض الخصال. Dark skin with white qualities. Dark skin with white qualities. Yeah, that's what matters in the eyes of Allah. That is what matters in the eyes of Allah. What's my qualities? What's my attributes? This, can I tell you? Tell me. هذه المرأة السوداء. You see this dark-skinned woman? أتت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. She came and she said, إني أسرع وأتكشف. I have this epileptic attacks and I pass out. Pray to Allah to cure me. And he صلى الله عليه وسلم said, إن شئت صبرت ولك الجنة وإن شئت دعوت الله أن يعافي. Wow. I pray now Allah cures you immediately. You promise me you persevere, I promise you Jannah is yours. You talk of every therapy. Is there any therapy in the world where the therapist can make the patient make peace with his or her condition? They're grappling. The first stage when you diagnose and there's a prognosis, the patient goes in denial. Those are the psychological steps. No, it's not me, it's not me. No. Who said so? It's inconclusive, it's preliminary, it's indefinite. Sometimes the scans are irregular. Then they start making peace. Okay, it could be cancer, but who knows it? It might be benign. It's not malignant. It's benign. It's benign. You deny him, you fight him, you resist him. What therapy was this that the patient makes peace? If you make dua, Allah will cure. I'll make dua, Allah will cure you. And if you persevere, Jannah is yours. Right? And she could have said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, what stops you from making dua for cure and Jannah?" Because that's how we think. You're not thinking out of the box. Thinking out of the box. So we want innovative ideas. We want people to inject some new vision in our business. So there's a post that's advertised, we want some new thoughts on board. So, you know what, we're asking for some entrepreneurs, some young blood, visionary in their ideas, who have actual science on their cards, who went through all the different challenges and can add it on. So they say, here's the challenge. You drive in and you come at a bus stand, and there are 3 people standing there. One is a person who's done you a favor back in life, and you always wanted to reciprocate the favor, but the opportunity never presented. You always, this man, you know what, in the back of your mind, and Luqman Hakim used to say, and I quote this very often, he said, one thing in life you never want to remember, and one thing you never want to forget. The thing you never want to remember is the favor you did to others. And the thing you never want to forget is the favors others done to you. So there's a person who's done you a favor and you're like, really, I need to reciprocate and pay back this favor. And the Prophet ﷺ, this was a rich quality in him. When the Sahaba took amnesty in Abyssinia before Medina, present day as Ethiopia, once on a trip we stopped there and I had the opportunity of giving a talk there. And I say opportunity because this was the first land that gave amnesty to the Sahaba. Medina was subsequent. Africa was first. The time of the king at that time was Ashama. Negus was his title, his name was Ashama. The opening verses of the 7 Jews, Allah lavishly praises him. وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا مَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ. You would see their eyes, tears are just trickling down. So anyway, when their delegation came, they gave amnesty. They gave amnesty to the Muslims. When the delegation from Habasha came to Makkah, Nabi Sallallahu stood up and he personally tried to acknowledge them and attend to them. So the Sahaba said, لو تركتنا يا رسول الله كفيناك. Oh Nabi of Allah, don't insult us, please sit down, we will look after them. He said, إنهم كانوا لأصحابي مكرمين. They sheltered my Sahaba when the world banished them. I want to acknowledge them personally and I will serve them with my own hands. Yeah, that's one of the amazing qualities of the Prophet ﷺ. He loved Aisha radiallahu anha like no other woman. He was so fond of her. But he couldn't stop speaking about the loyalty, the faithfulness, and the support of Khadija radiallahu anha. To the extent Aisha radiallahu anha said, مَا تَذْكُرُ مِنْ عَجُوز. O Prophet of Allah was an old elderly woman, she's moved on. حَمْرَاءَ الشِّدْقَيْنِ قَدْ أَبْدَلَكَ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. She's moved on and Allah's given you some young blood. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Aisha, آمنت بي إذ كفرني الناس صدقتني إذ كذبني الناس وواستني بمالها إذ حرمني الناس. Khadija said, I am a prophet when the world was skeptical. She put her funds before me when others were reluctant. She trusted me when others doubted me. I will never forget Khadija. There was a brother in the corporate environment. I used to give dars when I was the imam at one masjid, and I spoke about reciprocation, just to acknowledge and reciprocate. Years later he phoned me, he says, Wallah, may Allah bless you. I took that advice and I brought it into my company. And I just started appreciating and acknowledging and reciprocating people, and I climbed the corporate ladder right to the top. He didn't give me any royalties, but nonetheless he got there on top. Right? I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. Good luck. You know? Because nowadays when things work out, you won't even get a call. You know, when there's a crisis, then crap hits the fan. That's the time they phone you back. Anyway, so I was telling you, thinking out of the box. Right? I just want to relax you. I haven't started, by the way. Our Imam Sahib said the night is young. So, it's like 1.5 nights with half a day. Yeah. So this guy passes by the bus stand, right? And then, so this person did him a favor, he needs to reciprocate. And then there's a person standing there that is terminally ill or that needs to be rushed immediately to the hospital. And next to him is a young girl over whom he had a fantasy and a crush and an infatuation. But he's only allowed to give a ride to one person. Think out of the box. Right? So as a young man is thinking, it's like, this is easy, man. That's not a problem. I alight my vehicle, I get off. I call the man who has done me a favor. I said, here's my car. Take the sick man to the hospital and we go for our walk. Anyway, I was saying to you, my brother, the Arabic poet said, just to tie up with the couplets that were read, and I will try and make progress in what I was saying. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu's couplets. He said, إذا اجتمعت الآفات فالبخل شرها. إذا اجتمعت الآفات فالبخل شرها. وشر من البخل المواعيد والمطل. ولا خير في وعد إذا كان كاذبا. ولا خير في قول إذا لم يكن فعل. إن كنت ذا عقل ولم تك عالما فأنت كذي رجل وليس له نعل. وإن كنت ذا علم ولم تك عاقلا فأنت كذي نعل وليس له رجل. ألا إنما الإنسان ضمد لعقله ولا خير في ضمد إذا لم يكن له نسل. Wow. Wow, these are the words of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. يتفجر العلم من جوانبه. When he would speak, knowledge would just flow. Allah had endowed and blessed him with immense wisdom. He said if a person was to enumerate all evil qualities, then there can be no two opinions. The worst of it is to be a miser. If you want to count negative traits, evil qualities, bad habits, practices. In English they say old habits die hard. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you hear a mountain moves, then believe the man. But if someone tells you a person has abandoned an evil habit, don't believe him. إذا سمعتم بجبل زال عن مكانه فصدقوه. But if you hear of a person has given up an evil habit, forget about it. We become so entrenched. I often quote these words of my honorable father. He says, we are a nation driven by our addictions. that the tobacco industry can boldly print the harm of tobacco, yet not fear a drop in sales. Right? So there's this bold print here, causes cancer, not for pregnant women, pollutes the environment. The guy's like, yeah, can I have a pack of that cigarette, the one that causes cancer, please? Yeah, that's the one. Wow. So legally they got to cover their back to highlight and magnify the setbacks of that substance. But today we're so addicted that we look beyond, regardless of the bold print in which. Generally, if it's something negative, then it's in a fine print. It's not very visible, it's just behind. Then when you want to claim, then you open up the clauses, and now you realize that nobody told you, and you were just ticking and crossing and moving on. But when it's time to claim back, this is the time it haunts you. But no, this is bold and loud and brazen, yet who cares? Why we've been addicted. This is how we've become, unfortunately. Allama Rumi makes mention of the incident, a person comes with a torch in broad daylight and is shining it. Brother, what are you looking for? No, I'm looking for humans. No, hang on, what's this? You know, in English they say there's a big difference between human being and being human. There's a big difference between human being and being human. We might be human beings, but we're not being human. Allah has taken the responsibility to sustain the need of every person and not the greed of every person. We've decided to live a life of greed, the price of which is others are deprived of their needs. So just to interject and put you into Indonesia for a moment and bring you back to these couplets. On day 2 of our recent visit to Indonesia, we drive from 3 hours from Lombok. So we land in Jakarta. I had just returned from Hajj, and then the Imdad team told me to travel with. And I was saying during my Hajj discourses this year, that wallah, our one-day stopovers, we halt in Dubai or we stop here, we have a layover, and then we book a transit hotel. Our one-day layovers are more lavish than people's permanent homes. My one-day stop in Arafat and Muzdalifah, I need more amenities to pamper me than how people are living throughout their entire lives, and this is no exaggeration. So I need a good shower, I need a lovely meal, I need a good massage, I need to rejuvenate, I need to refreshen, just so I can hop onto my next leg, which is a long haul. My 8 hours, there's more around me to pamper me, cover me, insulate me, rejuvenate me, invigorate me to move on, to propel me, than what people are living their entire lives. We drive for 3 long hours from Lombok, and we climb the steep hill. We get right to the top. On the top, there is a little tent. It's scorching hot. It's sweltering hot. The men are in the little tent. The women are sitting outside. I align the vehicle. I walk up. They're waiting for me to give an address. I've been put in these situations in my life, and trust me, it's been easier for me to speak in front of my teachers, my seniors, in front of the imams of the haram, and in many positions that Allah has put me, and I'm grateful to the Almighty, and I don't pontify or create or say that I'm anything good. But it's been more challenging for me to speak to orphans and widows than speaking in front of my scholars. Now, you rotate your gaze, there's nothing but ruin. I wish you could see what I'm seeing in my mind at this moment. So you're standing on the top of this mountain, you've driven 3 hours, it's extremely hot, it's a windy road, and if you can just create this image in your mind, it's dusty, it's hot, you summit the hill, you get right to the top, you walk up the steep hill, there is the stand, there is the translator there, the men are in the masjid, the women in their hundreds, in their dozens are sitting outside with their babies, and it's 40 degrees. Sitting outside a place where was once their homes. And let me say to you here, my brother, a believer never feels safe in the position in which he is. He knows his Lord can strike at any time. If you feel anchored and firm, and I've secured it for myself, that's the trait of a munafiq and never a believer. أفأمنوا مكر الله أفأمنوا مكر الله فلا يأمن مكر الله إلا القوم الخاسرون. Do they feel safe against the wrath and the chastisement of Allah? That's the lot of the losers. إن الأيدي التي ألقت يوسف في البئر نفس الأيدي التي امتدت إليه ذليلا. The tale of Yusuf tells us something very scary. The very hands, listen to me, and I ask my youth to listen to me, I beg for your undivided attention. The hands that plotted the assassination / infliction on Yusuf alayhi salam. And they came with those hands and they dropped him mercilessly in the well. Were the very hands that came before Yusuf with their begging bowl asking him for basic food. Allah can turn the table and reverse the scenario at any time. They took their brother and dropped it. وَأَجْمَعُوا أَن يُلْقُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ. And they unanimously agreed to drop him inside. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا. And Allah inspired him. Shawkani says, يَجُوزُ أَن يُوحِي اللَّهُ إِلَى مَنْ كَانَ صَغِيرًا. Or academic debate whether he was a minor and it was a wahiyya istilahi or lughawi. That's a separate discussion. Allah sent revelation to him and comforted him. You will narrate this tale to these brothers in a time to come. And then things fast forward and life moves on. And these very brothers who once with that very iron fist, once with that very might and strength came and dropped their brother in the well. They come to this very boy who was in the well sitting on the throne. And they say, Ya ayyuhal azizu massana wa ahlana ad-dur. Oh man, how do I translate this? Ya ayyuhal aziz, your excellency, your majesty. Massana wa ahlana ad-dur. I'm so sorry to bother you, king. I'm so sorry to bother you. Myself and my dad and my family are going through a very, very tough time. Yusuf knows these are my blood brothers. That's my dad. When you say your family, that's my father. وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ. We've come to you with counterfeit money, with fake. We don't have real, but just as a pretext, just as an excuse. فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ. Will you be kind enough to overlook the fact that we don't have genuine funds and just look at our pitiful condition and give us measure in full? Nay, tasaddaq, give us charity. إِنَّ الْأَيْدِي الَّتِي أَلْقَتْ يُوسُفَ فِي الْبِئْرِ نَفْسُ الْأَيْدِي الَّتِي امْتَدَّتْ إِلَيْهِ ثَنِيًّا. Things can just turn at any time. Today, مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Listen, do you folks know what you did with Yusuf and his brother? And now there's a pause and a splinter of silence. Because this stage is only known to us. And you look properly, hey, are Yusuf ni mana? Itu what's lagi ya? Tahu Yusuf ni mana? قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف. Oh my words, oh my words. My heart cries and I harp on this on my talks. The Ummah hasn't taken our time to connect themselves to the Quran. We're just not connecting ourselves to the Quran. One verse of the Quran I was reading. The ulama say, اذهب أنت وأخوك بآياتي ولا تنيا في ذكري. An instruction given to Musa alayhi salam. اذهب, go. What does this ayah say? تهدم السلبية وتبني النشاط. The ayah told Musa, go. Which means don't stagnate, don't sit, move. Move in life, achieve, accomplish, exert yourself, move your hands and your legs, don't sit idle. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, إِنِّي لَأُبْغِضُ الرَّجُلَ فَارِغًا لَا فِي عَمَلِ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا فِي عَمَلِ الْآخِرَةِ. If there's something that's despicable to me is to find a human idle, nothing constructive of deen or dunya. This is not the nature of a believer. This is not the nature of a believer. اذهب, move. They say in Africa every morning a gazelle gets up and it knows it must run faster than the fastest lion or else it will be killed. And every morning in Africa a lion gets up and it knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle or else it will starve to death. It doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. When the sun rises, you better be running. You better be running. Where's this paralysis in the ummah? Sluggish from the word go. Gets up on his back foot. Tired from the bed. Hungry from the table. Paralyzed our youth. Imam Muhammad is issuing a fatwa and he passes away. Must you make Rami walking or must you make Rami mountain? Kullu Ramiyin ba'dahu Ramyun. He's giving a verdict and he passes away. Till the last breath they were engaged. Idhab, move. Anta wa akhook. You and your brother. Tahdim al-fardiyya wa tabni al-jama'iyya. What is anta? You and your brother? Stop this individualism. Pool your resources. Work together. We limbs of one body. We limbs of one body. I keep on saying, imagine it would be the most tragic moment if welfare organizations get into rivalry. There's a victim out there who needs food and we're trying to rival amongst ourselves. It's bad enough if anybody gets into rivalry. It's bad enough if anybody gets. Anta wa akhook, you and your brother work together, not to work together. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam came to Medina, then 5 months later, he paid them up. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was paid up with Kharija bin Zayd radiallahu anhu. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu was paid up with Itban bin Malik radiallahu anhu. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was paid up with Sa'ad bin Rabi' radiallahu anhu. Zubair ibn Awam radiallahu anhu was paid up with Sulama bin Sulama radiallahu anhu. Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu was paid up with Aus bin Thabit radiallahu anhu. Talha bin Ubaidullah radiallahu anhu was paid up with Ka'b bin Malik radiallahu anhu. Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu anhu was paid up with Abu Ayyub, Khalid bin Zayd radiallahu anhu. Abu Huzaifa bin Utbah radiallahu anhu was paid up with Abbad bin Bishr radiallahu anhu. Uthman bin Mad'un radiallahu anhu was paid up with Abu al-Haytham radiallahu anhu. Bilal radiallahu anhu was paid up with Abu Ruwayha, Abdullah bin Abdurrahman al-Khatami radiallahu anhu. The list continues. You paid up, just move together. اذهب أنت وأخوك بآياتي, with my signs. تهدم الجهل وتبني العلم. Don't sit with ignorance. Learn. آية واحدة من كتاب الله تكفلت لنا بمنهج الحياة فكيف بالقرآن كله. One verse of the Quran gives us direction, teaches us how to live our life. Imagine you get up each morning and you read a verse and it gives you the inspiration and the direction of life. That this is the message of my life. Renews it, reinforces it in you. Now you have the balance, you have the vision. Anyway, we get to the talk. So I give the talk. I sit in the masjid. I can vividly picture this. Like I often mention, when we went here to Albania and we were in Al-Basan, also in conjunction with Al-Imdad and Rahma Mercy. So we visited different places, and then as we were coming back, they said there is a orphanage. Would you halt here? I'm like, let's go for it. So we halt. And we walk in that place. And there's youngsters, boys and girls, all orphans. All orphans. You know, you say spend a day at the beach, spend a day in the open, spend a day on the safari. How about spending a day in Jannah by holding the orphans? Spend a day with the orphans. خير بيت المسلمين بيت فيه يتيم يحسن إليه وشر بيت المسلمين بيت فيه يتيم يساق إليه. Ibn Majah. The excellency of a Muslim home is not defined by its location, by its structure, by its position. It's defined by the fact if there's an orphan in that house which is well treated. وَلْيَخْشَ الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضِعَافًا خَافُوا عَلَيْهِمْ فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Wow, this is Quran. وَلْيَخْشَ الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضِعَافًا. If your eyes were to close now, and my eyes were to close, what fears would grip your heart regarding the small kids you leave behind? Allah says, now you take on that same passion for your brother whose eyes have closed and take care of his kids. If my eyes close now, I would want my family to rally around. I need my siblings to look beyond their bickering. I need my society to rise above their differences embrace my kids, shelter them, father them, nurture them, hold them, guide them, groom them, protect them, preserve them, give them the correct teachings, guidance and inspiration. So why don't we do that for the thousands of youth and offers that languish across the globe? That is spending time with an orphan. That is spending time in the company of the Prophet ﷺ. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْيَتَامَى قُلْ إِصْلَاحٌ لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ وَإِن تُخَالِطُوهُمْ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْمُفْسِدَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِ وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَأَعْنَتَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. See the ahkam that Allah makes mention. Anyway, I walk in the tent. The brother said, so let me come back to that story. So we walk in, there are youngsters here, and they are brothers and girls, all orphans, right? So meaning before the age of puberty, la yutma ba'da al-bulugh. Once you reach the age of puberty, then the academic ruling of being a yatim doesn't apply. We still sympathize and empathize, but the academic ruling of a yatim no longer applies once a person reaches the age of puberty. Of course, the love and care and nurturing continues, so this is just to put things into perspective. So they asked the one girl, will you say some things to the sheikh and introduce the class? So she says, yes, she comes forward. I don't speak English properly. I'm like, no problem, my sister, you talk to me. 4 years, my father died. My mother, very sick. My mother got dialysis. You know dialysis? I say, yes, my sister, yes, my sister. It's a long day, I'm tired, we're coming back, which is altered. But really, this was my honor, because that was a great... I often say, sometimes Allah takes you from one continent to another continent, just to hear one line. Just to hear one line. Just to see one thing. So we heard about ni'mats. We were coming earlier back this year from Mombasa. We flew with our entire team. We came to Nairobi, from there we flew to Mombasa. We were leaving early morning, and then I said to the brothers, we will have breakfast at the airport. When we got there wasn't much to be found, and we were quite hungry, contamination, alcohol, so I said, we'll just pass on it, we'll have some green tea, and that's about it. So I'm sitting there, you're traveling, you're uneasy, the night was erratic, you're hungry, all things are up and down, and just when I'm sitting and I'm about to sip my water, I see a sister walking, and she had a disability, but the disability was very strange, and may Allah grant her ease and afi, and may Allah make it easy for everyone. So when she would walk forward, the toes would be pointed back. Her feet would point back. So I don't know how to describe it. It was the first time I've seen someone with half a leg or one leg or crippled or paraplegic, etc. But this was quite strange. Obviously she had a shoe that was now tailor-made by her situation. And then I said to myself, are you still going to moan about the fact that you didn't have a breakfast? And I said to the colleagues, I said, wallahi, every day of life, you will be exposed to people who have more than you and less than you. The choice is yours where you fix your gaze.